Hello, and welcome to Working Dragon Mystic, where we discuss real, metaphysical, and occult topics so that you can manifest real and tangible change in your life. This week, we're going to be talking about a subject I've been getting a lot of questions on in the Gilded, in the emails, and actually a few in the comments on the channel itself, and that's going to be general offerings to dragons, okay? So this is actually going to be a dragon magic video. I know it's been a while. I apologize. We do have a few more coming out, so keep an eye on it. But today we're going to talk about offerings. Throughout the channel and the time I've been on here, I've told people that dragons aren't big on worship. They actually dislike worship. So they actually don't encourage us to worship them in any shape, form, or fashion. At the same time, they really don't require offerings in the same concept other entities do, or other magical practices may set it up and leave us to think. Okay. So I mean, you don't have to be offering up different things in order to work with dragons. In fact, the one thing, well, I should say the two things dragons want, the two things they require to work with you is respect and a goal of true friendship. True friendship's hard. They understand that, but they want it to be approached with the ideal of true friendship in mind. And they want respect, because with respect comes a manner of trust. They can begin to trust you if they can respect you and you respect them in their ways. They're not going to change their ways for us. Don't ask. That's not happening. If you don't like their ways, don't work with dragons. It's that simple. All right. And we'll probably do a video on that later too. But that said, many of you have also seen that there are certain videos, like the video on X Boonwell, for example, where he might ask for a little something as a treat for helping you out. That's not necessarily an offering. It's more of a, hey, I'm willing to help you out. Would you do this for me? See, that's not an offering. That's more of a payment, actually. Could be viewed as a payment, could be viewed as a thank you, could be viewed in a lot of ways, but it's not just an offering. It's like offerings always to me had this more of a spiritual, oh, please don't smite me kind of feel to them, or, oh, thank you for just being you. I don't do those. Friendship, respect, I'm okay giving those. In fact, I actually love that ideal personally. However, I also am Southern, if y'all haven't noticed, which means I like to give thank yous. Okay, I'm very big on the thanking a person for when they help me or whatnot. So to that, I will give a gift of some kind. If you want to call it an offering, I call it a very simple thank you to the dragons. Now, in the case of, for example, X Boonwell, in that video, I said X Boonwell loves pork rinds. It still makes me laugh because I didn't think anyone actually ate the things. I mean, I eat them, but I never see anyone else eat them. You know what I mean? So that's threw me when he asked, and the fact that I've run into other magicians where he's asked that same thing just helps to confirm that. And I see no difference in, buying a man a beer or buying a man a pack of pork rinds. A thank you is a thank you. And if that's what he prefers, that's what I'm going to give him as thanks. And it's really handy that way. So you've seen that, for example. But in general, let's say I want to give thanks. I want to go just beyond just friendship and respect, because, once we're friends, once we respect each other, you have that all the time. I get that. And that's really what they want. That's all they need. I get that. But the Southern in me wants to give them thanks for helping and the things they do for me as well. So how do I go about that usually? And that's simple. Usually, and I have talked to them about this, they prefer gifts of energy. You can do that during ritual where you're just giving the energy to the dragon that helped you. You can do that if you want. Takes a whole special ritual to do it usually, but that's okay. You could do it. You can spend a little extra time with them. They love spending extra time with us just to chat. That's a possibility as well. Or you can charge crystals with energy, just flat energy. Any crystal like this is just a little, I think I paid $1 for this, maybe less. This little crystal quartz tumble. And I got this one I paid a little more for. I like this one though. You can charge this any energy, any energy, any crystal. This is snowflake obsidian. You could charge that. Any rock. It don't even have to be a crystal. You can go pick a rock up out of your driveway and charge it. You really can. Here's an amethyst point that I really like. Had this, I think, my whole magical career. I think this may actually be the first crystal I ever purchased, if I'm correct on that. So you can do that. You can use that to charge with energy. Or if you have, let's say you keep your workspace where you do have an altar. Many of you know I don't keep an altar, but I have a workspace, and I'll occasionally set things like that. Like offerings or thank yous to an entity on there. Well, one item that I do enjoy charging, and I know it's an item set aside that I charge for the dragons just because of what it is. A friend of mine gave me a freaking alligator tooth. Look at that. I think it's an alligator. It might be a crocodile. It's a tooth. It's a big freaking tooth is what it is. Guy even had a cavity. I will charge this. I will charge this. And yeah, this is one that I set aside for charging for dragon purposes when I want to charge it with a specific energy or just energy in general. Okay, so we got that. That's easy, right? That's easy. Drake, I'm pretty sure I've heard you say this before. Gotcha. But let's do a little further. Let's go a little further on this, okay? We're talking general offerings here. And while we're there, you could offer them a beverage of any kind. Like my co-magician has a penchant for wine. I often make fun of him, call him a wino. But I have several times given him wine as a gift on the altar. And you can put it in something as simple as this mug, which actually has the dragon's eye seal on it, which would actually make a great offering vessel for dragon magic since it's got that on it. Or, as you probably saw me playing with earlier in the video, if you got one of these little fancy things like this, these little chalices, they break easy. But this one was a gift, so I do actually use it. I got it usually, I got a little cabinet over here where I hide things away in. I will stuff this in there. And on occasions, I will remember it's stuffed in there, and I do actually use it for offerings or different things for dragon magic. I'm not a fan of these because they're a pain to wash. I mean, this one has this little insert that comes out, so it washes a little easier, so I kind of like that. But this feels more decorative than anything serious to me. It's cool. It's cool as crap. But you could use this if you have one. You don't need to buy it. People's going to try and get you to buy this, so you're going to need this fancy vessel set aside for dragons. They don't give a rat's patoot. If you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. If you like this, you got the money to spend on it, or if you get one as a gift, great. But you don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need it. Okay? Cool. Now, another thing that I really do like to offer is, and this one's easy. Anyone can do this one. Get you some tea lights. Get you a tea light holder, much like this. See, this is the tea light. You can see it's shallow. I got this at Walmart. Okay, this was like $1. Seriously, this was like $1. And the tea light sits right in there. All right, then you take and you light your tea light and you offer the energy produced by the tea light and the burning of this tea light as your offering or as your thanks. Flame generates energy. Flame, that heat, that radiant energy that's being produced. Dragons love it. Dragons just love fire energy. All of them, period. People want to think that radiant energy from a flame is only associated with fire dragons. Yeah. Name a dragon that doesn't breathe dragon's fire. It's true. Each dragon's flame might be charged, and dragon's fire isn't fire in the sense that we think of. It is literally raw arcane power that they can manipulate and shape. So the candle is the perfect representation for a perfect general offering or thank you to any dragon. You can easily just light set this and let this little guy burn out. These usually burn, I think I've found these burn for like 30 minutes to an hour usually. And you can buy a big bag at the Wally World, the Target, Target. One of my friends is getting to me. You can buy them at the Dollar General. You can buy them at the Big Lots. You can anywhere you go shopping, you can freaking buy a bag of these dirt cheap, even on Amazon. So that right there is a perfect option, assuming an open flame is something you can do. And as we've talked on this channel, there's a lot of reasons why a person might not be able to have an open flame. Dorm room, barracks room, things like that. Maybe your parents don't like open flames, but if your parents allow open flames, They don't even have to know about the candles they're burning. You can burn it. It don't even have to be on your workspace. You could burn this one right there on your dresser and say, after the ritual, 30 minutes after the ritual, you went, you showered, you had dinner, you did something with your family, come back. You can just easily take this candle, put it in there and say, let's go with X been well. X been well, I want to thank you for everything you're doing for me. Ba-cha, like that, set it there, say, that's for you. Take all the energy from that candle as it burns. Walk away. Well, don't leave it burning unattended, please. Okay, hold on, don't do that. But just let it burn. Just let it burn. Even if you're just sitting there in your room playing a video game, just click, 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 click. You're there, you're attending the candle, you're clicking, you're doing whatever you're doing in Zelda, Mario, or whatever they're playing now. Skyrim, people's been playing Skyrim for what, 10, 20 years now? So that's an easy one if you can have that open flame. If you can't have an open flame, charge a crystal. Give that energy to them. How do you do that? You don't even have to do a full ritual. Just take the crystal in your hand. Breathe in. Cup your hand like that, you know? And breathe energy into it. Just do that 9 or 10 times. The crystal will take on the energy. Take that energy. It's been well, that energy is for you, mate. Thank you for everything you're doing. Again, don't even need to be in a ritual. You can do this easily with right before you go to bed. Set that on your bedside dresser, right on your nightstand. X been well, take the energy. It doesn't have to be on your workspace. It doesn't have to be anywhere specific. If you already just breathed into it and just lightly said, hey, this is for you. Trust me, he'll get the message. He'll get it. And because of that, for those people who's worried about someone knowing about their practice, like I said, if you keep crystals on your bedside 24/7 for decorative purposes, booyah, no one's going to know. Somebody's like, well, crystals have, my parents won't let me keep crystals. I've had that said. Okay, don't use a crystal. Use anything, literally. Okay, so for example, I haven't done this, but I know someone who does. Anybody recognize this? Woo. Yeah, okay. I'm a nerd. Give me a break. Okay. I got a buddy. He actually has a bunch of these die-cast ships. This one actually was a little hard to get, but he got it for me. He will charge these and leave those as offerings. Charge them just like you would a crystal. See, here's the thing. There's not really anything special about a crystal for holding energy as an offering. There's not. There isn't. You could literally charge anything. Do you have a stuffed animal by your bed? Charge it. Give the energy as an offering. Do you have headphones by your bed? Charge them. Whatever you have by your bed. Even if it's just an ink pen. I know I have usually some kind of a weird notebook of random thoughts and ideals or work notes, because I'm that guy. I have a thought for work or a video, and if I don't write it down, I actually lose sleep because it's going to bug me. I'm going to forget it if I don't write it down. So I keep something like this. I can charge this pen, and even though I use it for another purpose, I can charge it, and the dragon's going to get the energy from it. No problem. If you're like my buddy Nitro, you always got hot sauce by your bed. Don't ask. You can charge your bottle of hot sauce. You can charge your gaming controller. You can charge a necklace like this. Now, don't charge a magical piece of jewelry that you use for another reason, because they're going to come. They're going to take the energy out of whatever it is you're charging. Remember that. So if you've got this enchanted or charged for another purpose, they're going to take the energy out of it. They're going to restore it to its normal properties. So yeah, don't do that. That's the one thing I would say don't do. So these are ways that you can do it. Another great offering, again, this is going to require you to need an open flame, incense. Preferably dragon's blood incense. Dragon's blood incense is the go-to incense for the dragon magic practitioner. They love this stuff. I don't know why, because they emit, it's red sap from a tree, specifically a palm tree, but a lot of the human associations with it and the amount of respect that's gone into the mythology and stuff, they adore that. The meanings that they put behind it, they adore that. And they actually do admit they love the smell, and it's hard to argue. This I like the smell of this. I don't like a lot of incenses, but I do enjoy this one. Now, you will notice probably this is just little This is the little cones. And I'll tell you, I prefer the cones over most others. I do have a jar of like raw dragon's blood sap, or resin, as they often market it as. You can powder that and put that on a piece of charcoal and let it burn. It'll do the same thing. Dragons don't care if it's the cones. They don't care if it's the resin. They don't care if it's artificial. They don't actually even care if it's dragon's blood. I like it. Dragons like it. But technically, you could use any incense you like. If you burn incense in your home and you have incense in your home, you could easily do the same thing here. Again, charge the incense, just like we did the crystal, just like we did the little starship, just like we did the alligator's tooth, just like you might have done the candle you don't have to charge because the flame generates energy, but you could charge it also, give it an extra boost. But we're doing the same thing here. Then you light and burn the incense, and technically, you could actually give the consumption energy of the energy produced from the incense burning as the offering. That's one reason incense is pretty cool, chemistry people. Okay, so those are all very general offerings, easy peasy. Many of these things you got lying around your house. So you're like, Drake, I ain't got any of that. What can I do? Okay, get you a glass, coffee cup, mug, anything. Even a shot glass. Put your little water in there. And this one still needs cleaned. I don't know what's on it since we moved. Something got on it. I just pulled it out of a box over here. But fill your little shot glass with water. Charge that, just like we did everything else. Set that right by your bed or on your dresser. Let them know it's for them. Walk away. Easy peasy. In fact, you could even just charge the glass. You don't even have to put a liquid in it. You could just charge the glass and set that there and let them take the glass. Glass takes energy really, really well. Glass is the unsung hero to the magical practitioner. Because if you actually look what glass is made of, how it's made, this is supercharged with all four of the primary elements straight off the bat just to create it. I would put glass against any crystal, honestly. If you asked me single-handedly, Drake, what one energetic crystal would you have if you could only have one ever again? It may not count as crystal. I would take glass because it is supercharged from its very creation. And it is so neutral. It's so versatile. It's so flexible. This is the magical multitasker, hands down. It beats out even crystal quartz, clear quartz, crystal quartz, any of those. So I would go to glass, hands down. I know a lot of people's probably screaming and rolling over and falling out of their chairs because I just said that. Well, I just said it, but it is what it is. So offerings for dragons is a very, very easy thing. Now, let's clear up one thing here while we're at this. There's a difference in an offering and decorations dedicated to honoring something. So, for example, this tooth, if I wasn't using this, if I wasn't charging this, and let's say I actually kept a altar or a space in my house that I decorated for the dragons. I don't, but let's say I did. I could place this on there as a decoration and an honor and a representation of them, easy peasy. I don't need to charge it. I don't need to do anything. It's just, okay, this makes me think of dragons. I can set that on there. Any crystal for something like that, they love shinies of any kind. You can even put pennies on there. This little cup, I could see this being a artistic representation to put in your home or in a special space, honoring the dragons. But putting those items around is no different than hanging up a picture honoring your parents. It really isn't, no different, none at all. But you can do that. Whether you're offering the offering in a traditional sense of an offering or you're offering it as thanks for their help, though, you got to put some energy in it. If you just set it there and leave it, it's going to be energetically dead. It's not going to do no good. There has to be effort put into this. I'm sorry. But that effort is so minimal. If you're not willing to put in that minimalistic effort, magic, and particularly dragon magic, might not be the right road for you, because it does take work. But at the same time, we're talking very, very simple work here for this concept. This is not a complicated process. And there are people out there who try to overcomplicate it. At the end of the day, like I said, all the dragons want is us to pursue true friendship with them, as well as have true respect for them, so that true trust can be built. That's what they really want. But that same thing aside, giving thanks to them for what they've done, that makes sense to me. I do it. I mean, I'm Southern. Some people don't quite understand why you would do that. Some people don't get it. But to them, I say, hey, that's fine, because all they really want is this. And honestly, giving thanks to them like this, they do not view as any shape, form of worship at all, because you're not worshiping, you're just giving thanks. So yeah, all these methods are just examples, but you could easily do these. You could even, as thanks, just get your little bowl, whatever you have for dinner, put your little food in there, set that wherever you want to set it, and say, booyah, there you go. Thank you. That's a great way to do it too. You want to share some of your morning coffee with them as thanks. You can, again, take you a little something like this, put some coffee in it, set it somewhere, let them know it's theirs. Let it sit there for 30 minutes to an hour, come back and get it, dump it out, you're good to go. It's not complicated. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. And honestly, they will eat anything. They'll take energy from anything that you are willing to offer them, as long as it is yours to offer. That's the kicker, isn't it? As long as it's yours to offer. Do not think you're clever in offering something that isn't yours to offer. Because not only will they not take it, you have dealt them a great disrespect in trying to get them to be a thief for you. So don't be doing that. That's not cool in any shape, form, or fashion. If it's not yours to offer, you don't give it. And you may be like, well, energy don't belong to anyone. You're right. You can charge any of these, and that's yours to give, easy peasy. I have known morons who knew that a fellow magician of theirs may have wore a ring that aided them or helped them in some way, or a pendant or a necklace, and they offered the energy in that item, hoping the dragons would snag that up, disenchant it, and leave their colleague vulnerable to whatever shenanigans that they had in mind. The dragons aren't stupid. You're not going to trick them. You're not going to fool them. They're not going to do that. And you're going to deal them a great disrespect. And you're also going to show them point blank they can't trust you. And at that point, your path in dragon magic has just come to a sudden halt, if not been obliterated. Because if you lose the trust of the dragons, there is no dragon magic, period. And if you can't get that trust back, that's it. You're done. Switch paths, because that's it. I mean, gaining the trust of dragons back is no easy task. It's not an easy task. In fact, there is a specific ritual that takes doing it daily for an entire year to basically get back into the graces to start developing that trust again. But if you're not willing to go through that year, and you're willing to do the work and not miss any days with no exceptions, you'd better just find a different path. So, which, you know what, we might do a video talking about that, but for now we're here on offerings, and make sure you are doing these offerings. Well, you don't have to do them, as we said, but if you want to do them, make sure you're keeping them simple is what I wanted to say. That's it. Yeah. Keep them simple. Don't get extravagant. You don't have to make it fancified of any kind. If you have a crystal collection and you want to use it, utilize it. Again, if your crystals are attuned or charged for a specific thing and you don't want them to discharge, don't use the crystal. Get a crystal for offering, or get a piece of glass or a toy or a tooth, even a stuffed animal. Like, I have actually, old Ace here on the desk, you guys have seen him before. I've actually charged this little parrot before with energy, because most stuffed animals actually hold energy pretty well. Might have to do a parent video about stuffed animals and why they're great for magic, but you can charge something like this. And if you have something like this sitting in your room 24/7, no one's going to know what it is. It's easy peasy. This stays on my desk, mainly because my daughter gave it to me, but comes in handy in a pinch. So you can do that. You can even charge a notebook, even. Anything you can grab, you can charge. And it's the energy in it that you're placing that is that offering of thanks. Okay? Hope this has helped to clear this up to some extent. I feel like I was just rambling a bit, but hopefully it makes sense, because in my head it's making sense. Hopefully this helps you all out a bit more and answers some of the questions that people have had with offerings and stuff to dragons. Now, if you're working with a dragon and a dragon lets you know it specifically likes something, like Expinwell told me pork rinds, there's nothing wrong with offering up a pork rind as thanks. Like I said, if they tell you they like steak, there's nothing wrong with offering up beef or some kind, or even steak, you know. If they tell you they like tofu, don't know why they like tofu, but let's just say tofu, you can offer up tofu. I mean, anything like that, as long as it's, don't do something stupid. First off, the dragons will never ask you to do anything illegal. So if anything comes through that would fall under the category of illegal, that wasn't them. And that's just simple. And since entities don't really impersonate dragons, I'd say that's probably you superimposing it, more than likely, which is just don't. If anything illegal shows up, you don't do that. But no matter what it said, even if, like, let's say Expinwell came and said, hey man, I'd like some pork rinds. It's like, I can't get to the pork rinds right now. I'm going to have to give you some energy. That's fine for him. At the end of the day, he gets the energy from the pork rinds. He don't actually eat the bag of pork rinds, right? So even then, in that case, even if they make a specific, thing that they like, if you can't get it, if you can't do it, fall back to energy. Same thing. Okay. Hope this helps. All right, everybody. Until next time, I'm Drake. This has been Working Dragon Mystic. Take care. Bye-bye.